free period that I missed, so that was tough.
I had my hardest class actually first period, so I was ecstatic about that. So I paid a little bit more attention to that. What kind of stuff do you think we should talk about with speakers? Do you think we should lessen the number down, or do you think there's a certain thing that is more appropriate for the morning or to the afternoon?
I kind of like just hearing about people's life stories, and especially with someone like Chris Herron, when you learn about all the obstacles he's faced in his life. I think that hearing speakers like that have a significant story to share, I think those are the more helpful speakers for high school students.
Yeah, I know one of the speakers that we had that stuck with me, especially in the morning during chapel time, we had Houston Hardy's brother.
Mm-hmm.
He came and talked to us from the Spurs, and that stuck with me. I think part of it was because, again, like you said, the sports influence with that, but I think he had a really interesting story, and he was a really good public speaker. I think, for me personally, I think we should kind of cut down the number of speakers that we have, but make them more meaningful like that. And I don't know, you can't really control how meaningful or how the students are going to take a certain speaker, but I think that's certainly a way we could help more students pay attention if we have better speakers like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sticking with the topic of speakers, as Noah alluded to earlier, we had Chris Herron last Friday. I think he was amazing. He was one of the best speakers we ever had. Noah, what did you think of what he...
I just thought he spoke with a lot of intensity, and he was really real with us, so that was especially about the drugs and alcohol, which is something that I haven't really experienced before. And I just like hearing about his story, and I thought it was helpful to learn like what can go wrong, and it was cool to see how he's rebounded and is doing well now and spreading his message to high school kids around the country.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the most impressive speakers we had. I feel like even though he may not have gone through some of the same issues that he's gone through, I think some of the stuff that he was talking about, like being able to like yourself and knowing yourself, that's something that even if you don't do drugs or alcohol, you can relate to that and you can take that away from it. Also, during the talk, we had guests from other schools come to the program. Were you in a group with any students from other schools?
There weren't any other students in my group, but I thought it was interesting to see them interacting with St. Chris kids and joining in advisory groups. I thought that was probably a good program to get the community together as a whole.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool how he had other guys, and I think one thing that makes our school special is that the way we interacted with them, we kind of just joined in. I know a basketball game was about to start with the George Wythe players, so that would have been a fun experience, but yeah, that was interesting. Also, one of the things that a lot of people were talking about after was a question session afterwards. So people felt like we didn't have enough time to discuss. I know me personally, I felt like there was maybe too many questions, and some of the questions didn't have much room for discussion. What was your opinion on it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I wish that we had gotten to talk more about certain topics, and then other topics didn't really seem important. And we did feel kind of rushed, especially because it seemed like everyone in the advisory group had something to share about each topic. So I would agree with that. But I thought that overall the discussions afterward were very helpful in kind of breaking down what Chris said.
Yeah. I know one thing that was especially impactful for me was after the Chris Herron talk. We had two classes after that, and neither class we had classes at all. We kind of just talked and recapped what we thought about what he said. Did you have anything like that, any experience like that in your classes?
I did. I think that that's kind of helpful in the community if the teachers pay attention to the speakers and they realize how important they are. So like you said, your teachers were willing to sacrifice class that day just to kind of keep talking about the speakers, because Chris Herron was such an important speaker that I think that wasting a class period, well, it wasn't wasting, but just spending a class period talking about him was really helpful to learn more about his message.
Yeah, I thought that was especially good for us, how teachers were so willing to sacrifice the class period to delve deeper into that kind of stuff. What kind of things were the people talking about in your classes?
We were kind of talking about how the pressure of sports and academics and then social life, how that can all put a lot of stress on students, and how a lot of times they are forced to turn to things like drug and alcohol. So for you as a student athlete, I know basketball is a big part of your life, and same with Chris Herron, do you feel any of those pressures that he was talking about?
I had to deal with it a little bit more when I was younger, but at this point I've kind of adapted to the whole thing. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel, especially for an athlete, if you do that stuff, you're cheating your body, and that's something you never want to do from an athletics perspective. I know in some of my classes, especially, we harped on the amount of stress at St. Christopher's, and being at an institution like this where the academic class is so rigorous, and you're in how many AP and honor classes are you in?
5.
5, yeah. So, I mean, do you think that you have that kind of level of stress with you? I mean, junior year, has it been hard for you, stress-wise and stuff?
Yeah, it's been pretty tough, especially, like I said before, the combination of social life, sports, athletics, family life. It's a lot. But I think that one of the good things about St. Chris is that it prepares us for college, and then later on in life, like, there's going to be stress. And I think that I've noticed in my teachers, I don't know if you feel the same way, my teachers are usually really helpful if I come to them and say, I have 2 tests, is it okay if I can make up the assignment later? I think most teachers are pretty helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of stress, but I mean, this is the time when you really need to work hard, start getting ready for college.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Teachers have been very helpful for me. Anytime I need extra help or need a teacher to just talk to, there's always a bunch of them there. Do you think this year, junior year, has been the hardest for you?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's been the hardest. Freshman year, they're kind of introducing you to high school. A lot of kids struggle freshman year because they're not used to the workload. And then I think sophomore year was pretty easy because just kind of, it was your last year before, junior year, getting ready for college. This is the most important time, and it's also the most stressful. Yeah, I would agree.
Do you think the search process for college is the most stressful part of?
Yeah, definitely. You start hearing about like what kind of scores you need to get into colleges, and then what kind of grades, and then tuition, and it's a lot to deal with. But I think that combined with the academic load this year, that really makes it the most stressful.
Yeah, one thing I noticed a lot for me with my classmates, Mr. Roy, one of my teachers, he talked about how he came from those school, and he noticed that this school, he said the level of stress here is a lot higher here than other places. Do you notice that some of your classmates are very stressed about things this year?
Yeah, I do notice that, but I think one of the reasons that happens is because everyone here cares about their academics, and I don't know what school Mr. Roy came from, but there's a good chance that kids there weren't as serious about academics, and they want to succeed here. Everyone here is pretty ambitious, and whether it's sports or academics, everyone here has something that they really like and something that they're pursuing. So yeah, you do see stress, but I think it comes from people caring.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the worst stress in the world to have. There's other things. We could not care, and it'd be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all we have for today, folks. I'm Nick Sherod.
No O'Neill.
Yeah, and for the Saints podcast, and they may change. We're out.